Since you were told that you've been here thousands of times, have you sat back and thought, what have I done over all these thousands of times that I've been here, and why do I keep coming back?
Yeah, because I'm not good enough. No, not really. Back to your other question real fast. So there's everything to learn and there's nothing to learn. I mean, you learn on different levels and you think, aha, every time you get to an aha experience like that, I know now. And then you realize they flip the pancakes. It's like, it's, you go on different conscious levels. So it's everything to learn to get these energies to match up and go where we want to go. But on the same token, that's not the main purpose. Yeah. The main purpose is much bigger than that. It's the whole wheel of creation and the wheel of sheer existence that has to be maintained. I understand it was about 8 lifetimes ago also that I incurred in a very conservative society. I was had this strong impression that was more than just a thought, that I incurred some, I basically, through negligence, lost one of my kids. And it was in a very unforgiving, male-dominated society. I was the wife. And I got really persecuted for it in that sense, an outcast, and starved to death. And I carried the scar of that clear into this lifetime. And so the soul still had that dent in it because that kept resurfacing. That kid kept coming up a couple of times in my lifetimes and was mad at me. So it would cause me problems. And so now it's just this lifetime has gotten released, which is interesting to note. It's like, oh, okay.
And so when they came to me, they said, look, I'm sick, the one gentleman, and the other one said, and my wife is sick. And we both know that that happened because of what we did to you, because of the way we tried to malign you and hurt you. We have created the instant karma back against ourselves. So if you don't mind, would you mind forgiving us so that we could both get better? And I just kind of chuckled. I said, well, boys, I can't really do that. And they said, oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And I said, well, I can't. You've created a karma that exists within the universe. You want me to just say that you didn't mean it, that it didn't really happen? They said, no. We know that we did wrong. And so we're sorry. So if you just say it's okay, this will all go away. And I said, well, I can't do that anymore. And they said, well, either way, we no longer think poorly of you. We no longer are creating bad images of you. We no longer hate you and want you to die. We just want to let you know that we've released you of all the things that we attached to you from the past. And I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, but I can't say that our slate is clean because you took things from me and the universe has to pay me for those things. And if it comes from you, then that's your fault. Sorry, I can't let you go of that. And so it was a combination of things like that. There must have been a dozen different people that showed up from past experiences, that there was a reckoning that had to happen so that my memory in my energetic body was released of all of these things so that my energetic body could operate at a higher frequency, take the rocks out of the battery so that I had more capacity. So that my energetic body could operate at a higher frequency, take the rocks out of the battery so that I had more capacity.
So are you saying that you finally released them, or you forgave them, or what happened?
I said, I appreciate that you've released me, but I don't harbor anything against you. I'm not holding you in this. You have a debt to the universe, not to me. Okay. And I can't release you of that debt. But they wanted to make sure that I wasn't still harboring anything against them because they were harboring me. They wanted to know that I didn't still hate them and wish them bad. They wanted to make sure they weren't sick because I was trying to get back at them. That's something I saw in a couple of other near-death experience videos that I watched, is people were explained by other entities and masters about how our thoughts and how our wishes attach to other people and the ramifications of that. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you get mad at them and say, oh, you know, you're a jerk, you're an asshole. We don't realize that we actually attach an energetic karma to them.
The reason why we incarnate is a grace, a gift of God.
So that my energetic body could operate at a higher frequency, take the rocks out of the battery so that I had more capacity.
The reason why we incarnate is a grace, a gift of God to have the earth, which is nothing but a schooling planet for our soul to undo our karma in the shortest possible time.
If I went back and if I were to fix the problems, if I were to go through the fears and the challenges, if I were to work my stuff out. Also, there was a karmic retribution. Like I had to pay off a karmic debt, which is something I always question whether karma was real. And yes, absolutely. I had to feel what I did to others. And that was a way for me to learn, not like a punishment, but I had to learn that if I do learn that, I'm more chances of me doing that to someone else is not going to happen because I actually felt what they would feel. So karma for me was it was more of a tool for my growth. And when I was a young kid, I had such compassion and such good qualities about me. My parents were always so mad because they knew the young me, but then I changed into this horrible person. Now I know like this horrible person was created because of abuse and trauma, but I'm not blaming myself for that. But the abuse, the level of abuse and the trauma and all these things that happened to me, it just made me a version of myself that even I didn't like. But I didn't know how to change out of that, right? It just got worse and worse and worse.
So after you came back, how did your life change?
Well, at first, my life changed because I was terrified of a lot of things, and it ended up backfiring on me at first. It ended up because I was more suffering from PTSD than getting the actual message. Right? I ended up drinking more because I was terrified. It did kick into years later.
Just a little bit like school. What we learn when we're in infant school, kindergarten, is the basic 2 + 2 is 4. But by the time we get up to high school, we're learning calculus and algebra and stuff. By the time if we went on to university, we're really learning the very hard stuff. And they said, for you, you've had so many lifetimes. This is university level stuff. This is not easy stuff. So for you to expand in forgiveness, you needed something huge to expand, to grow, to forgive. All right. And so you chose these experiences, that are huge. How can you forgive what has happened to you? How can you forgive your parents for neglecting you to the point where these things would happen to you? You have so many opportunities here for forgiveness and growth and to grow in love. And this is what you chose. And we did warn you. And this is what you chose. And we did warn you that it would be tough, that it would be hard. And we did say, why don't you do it gently over, say, 3 or 4 lifetimes? And you said, no. They said you were a nightmare. You were so stubborn. They said you were a nightmare. You were so stubborn. You know best. You want to do it in one. You want to learn all this stuff and you're going to do it in one. And we did say we'll have to put an awful lot of support from us in place. But if I do it right, this is supposed to be my last life here. And this is something that really has resonated with me in the last 5 or 6 years. It's like, this is your last go. You're never going to taste that food again. You're never going to experience these things again because they're not on other planets. I might have lifetimes in other planets, in other universes. I might have lifetimes in other planets, in other universes. I might have lifetimes in other planets, in other universes. I might be somebody's guide to, be overseeing them. But this is my last lifetime on planet Earth, so let's enjoy it. Let's make the most of it. If I don't complete all the lessons, all the experiences, then I'll have to come back again. We can undo good. I've done a lot of good and I've helped a lot of people, but I've made a lot of mistakes too. And I don't know whether it'll all be balanced up the other side. From this perspective, which is so narrow, I think I've done okay. But from a higher, wiser perspective, when I get to the other side and see all the people I've harmed, and I have harmed people from not understanding my actions on them when I was in my trauma or my triggers or my reactions, and whether I have righted those wrongs and balanced that karma, I don't know.